Hey, so today I'm going to be answering a question that I get from a lot of you, especially those moving from out of state, and that is, what is the cost of living in Houston? More specifically, what is the cost of living in Katy or some other similar Houston suburb? I'm going to bare my soul a little bit today and share with you my personal expenses as a family of four living in the Houston suburbs. I don't know if we are the average family, but I am hoping that I can at least kind of give you a starting point on the average day-to-day costs of living in the Houston suburbs. I'm also going to be throwing in some facts and statistics and housing costs, of course, because that's my job. But overall, I hope by the end of this, you'll have a better understanding of what to expect once you arrive here in Katy. I'm just going to start with housing because why not? In Katy, Texas right now, the average home is about $355,000. I will admit this has gone up significantly even from a couple of years ago when I moved here. Most of this is due to a lot of people moving from more expensive states moving into Texas, driving our costs up a little bit. I would say overall it is still pretty affordable compared to other parts of the country. With a house of about $355,000, you are looking at an average mortgage of about $2,200 to $2,300 a month. And if you were looking for renting upon arriving here, then an apartment in Katy is going to cost you about $1,500 a month. And I'm saying this is a small apartment, like a one-bedroom or less apartment will cost you about $1,500 a month. If you're looking to rent a house in Katy, then you're also looking at about $2,200 to $2,300 a month on average. I will say that the rental market is just as competitive as the buying market right now, so just keep that in mind as you move here. Make sure you have patience and you have adequate time to find a home or a rental. Another important expense to keep in mind, especially about the mortgage here in Katy, are the property taxes. The property taxes in Katy can range anywhere from 1.8 to 3.7%. This is much higher than the national average. The national average is anywhere from like 1 to 1.2%. So that is why on a $355,000 house, your mortgage is going to be $2,300 a month on average. The good news is that Texas has no state income tax, so the property tax is often made up in the fact that people who move here no longer have state income tax. As far as utilities go in Katy and all of Houston for that matter, it gets pretty hot and humid, so a lot of your energy costs will go towards cooling. On average, I would say you're going to be spending about $300 a month on your utilities. Of course, it's going to be a little bit higher some months than other months, but all in all, I would say it averages out to about $300 a month. One of my other biggest expenses here in Texas is daycare costs. Obviously, this is going to vary a lot depending on how old your kids are, how many you have, what kind of daycare it is, how often they go, etc., etc. But I will say on average for full-time daycare, you are probably looking at about $800 a month. Another expense is transportation costs. Katy and all of Texas for that matter have lower than average fuel costs. A gallon of gas right now is about $2.41 a gallon, which is so much cheaper than a lot of other areas of the country. So you probably will save money there. There are toll roads in Katy and around Houston, so if you plan to use those as part of your commute, I would say you're going to be spending about 50 cents per mile on toll roads. As far as food costs go, this one's a little difficult. My family of four spends on average about $300 to $350 a week on groceries. I don't know if that's above or below average. I will say though that a gallon of milk in Katy costs $2.94 and a dozen of eggs costs $2.14. So maybe you can take that and compare it to what you currently pay for those items and kind of get a better idea of how much groceries are here. As far as eating out, the average fast food meal here is about $8. A sit-down casual place in Katy is going to cost you about $11 a plate. So while Katy residents typically spend less money on utilities and groceries and transportation, you do pay a little bit more than average on housing costs and property taxes. All in all, I would say Katy is a fairly affordable place to live. It is higher than the national average. However, I would say it's one of the cheaper cities of all the major metropolitan cities in the country. If you are looking to move to the Houston suburbs and are curious about the different areas or have any questions, feel free to message me. I'd love to help you out. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.